everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to a bit more Train Sim World 3. And it wasn't just the Midland Main Line that got patched yesterday. Lots and lots of stuff got patched. One of the things that appeared in the patch was this. This is the BR204 shunter. This was a Rivet product and came in one of the Rivet patches yesterday. So we are on the Main Spessart Bahn. Going to get everything set up. Going to connect to these vehicles. We're going to couple up to these 7 vehicles. We're at Aschaffenburg at the moment, and then we are going to go. Let me show you the map. We are going to come all the way down this branch line to the Dockland area. So it's a very short service just to deliver these wagons. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the 204 and the changes. And let's get everything set up. If I can remember, it's been ages since I played this. So let's get into forwards. That's the first thing. We want to get some lights on. The instrument lights are here. And let's have a look at, let's go over actually and look at this. These are the headlights. They get confusing. It talks about front headlights and it talks about back headlights. Now it just depends which is the front and the back. Let's just have a look. There will be a way to tell which is the front and which is the back. I think the long end is the front. It is. See, there's a long end and a shorter end. So that is the front. So we want that off. We do want the marker light to be red though. So we've got some tail lights while we're moving around. The back headlights, which are actually the front from where we're sat, I know, it's confusing. We'll put those on white. Now, if I just nip out and show you, can see the reds there? If we go around the front, we've got the whites. So, that's good. Now, what we need is, and this is the main thing for me, we've got over here somewhere, where is it? Cipher. And right here at the back, up at the top, we've got PZB. Now, they've always been a thing, but as we'll talk about when we go through the patch notes, they've been missing from the HUD ever since I picked this up. And I've had this a long time. I've had this since TSW2, and it's always been missing from the HUD. So I wasn't able to properly play this with PZB on. This is the biggest fix that's come for me, so I'm quite pleased about that. Now, what we need to do is put the brake key in. Let's open the window, actually. It's a nice morning, isn't it? Here in Germany. We'll get the brakes off. And we will start moving. So we do have a red light, but it's past where we're picking up these wagons, so that's fine. Let's listen to the horns, just in case you guys are not familiar with the 204. That's great, isn't it? It's still not as good as the 4F on Peak Forest, but it comes a close second to it, doesn't it? Oh, I love that. Yeah, so this is Main Spessart Bahn, and just recently, this isn't a route I've spent a great deal of time on. Because this is one of the older routes now, and there's so much newer stuff I've been playing. It's a shame, really. But as things get patched, I keep going back and I keep playing them, and I actually find that I really enjoy them. I do actually enjoy this route. It's quite a fast route, and I'm keeping my eye on the signals because we've got Cipher and PZB on. The Cipher actually, well, we'll go through the patch notes. I won't spoil it. We'll go through the patch notes and I'll tell you all about it. The brakes are a bit flaky, need to get the speed off. They do take some getting used to. They don't come on straight away, which when you're dealing with a freight train can be a bit difficult or a bit awkward. Let's just creep up. Maybe not creep that slowly. Let's get the brakes off. The brakes have held a little bit there, which is causing the issue. What we're going to have to do is swap ends for this next part of the trip. That was a bit severe, wasn't it, actually, that? Not to worry, we've completed what we needed to do. So, it says we're going via Aschaffenburg Süd Platform 2. So that's kind of... let me show you the map. Let me do that again. Come on. Right, let me take that off. There we go. Right, we got there in the end. So that's here. There is a little station there, which you'll see on the way down. It's the only one we've got on the way down here. But this actually is a nice little route down here. Now, you couldn't play this area right at the beginning on Main Spessart Bahn. This was added later. You could walk part of the way down here, as I recall. But the actual Docklands area, which is this part, was added later. And I think probably because this shunter was coming, because this shunter came after the route released. It didn't come out with the route. It's a loco add-on. Alright, so let's take the master key out. An important thing with this one is that the brake has to be in the off position. You've got to be careful with that, because sometimes you put it to off and it flicks back again. We'll take the brake key out because we can't go anywhere on the other side without the brake key. That's everything we need to do, apart from switching the lights, of course. So now we want the front headlights on. We want it to be white because we're going the opposite direction. White again. And at the back, we don't really need any lights because we've got a train behind us. So we'll set those to off. The PZB and the CFA only need switching on once, so you don't have to switch it on for this end. When you put it on, it's on for the whole, whichever end that you're actually sat at. So that's good, we don't need to worry about that. Let's get this into forward. Instrument lights on. The all-important brake key needs to be in. And we should be ready to go. We do have a 500 Hz magnet there, so let me just override that. It's not letting me override it. Let's just see how we get on. It might change as we set off. Make sure the brakes are off, and let's get on our way. So I don't know what we're pulling. It's probably oil of some sort. It is flammable. These are the ZACNS wagons or tankers, and I think they are pretty heavy because it's taken us a while to go, isn't it? Let me just check with no the brakes on. We haven't. Into number 6. That's our top throttle. We're just about getting going, look. So these are heavy. These are pretty heavy. So we'll make our way around. I think we'll still have that 500 Hz magnet until we go through the green signal. So let's just keep the speed nice and slow. It's a lovely little shunter, this. And when you're idle, these flaps close, and as you apply power, they open, like you can see them now. That's a nice little touch. It's an unusual looking thing, isn't it? But they're all a little bit like that in Germany, aren't they? The other shunter that we've got, the 363, is an unusual looking little thing, but they're quite cute in a way, aren't they? It's obviously a powerhouse, this. You saw the way we had to go into notch 6 there to actually get us moving. Plenty of weight behind us. So we will just get out of Aschaffenburg station and we will look at those patch notes that I mentioned. We can speed up a little bit now that the 500 Hz is cleared. It's really straining itself to pull this. I was actually very surprised when I saw this come up in the list of patch notes yesterday, because the problem with the CIFA and the PZB being in the hood has been there, as I said, from the moment I picked this up. I remember when Matt first demonstrated the 204 on the PC, it was all working on the PC, so whether it was a console specific issue, but as soon as it came over, the PZB wasn't working in the hood, so I was using it without. It was just too difficult. I kept getting emergency braked all the time. So this update has been needed for quite some time, so I'm really pleased. It's come out of the blue. I don't think anybody said that they were working on it. Let's just acknowledge that. So it came out of the blue, but what a nice surprise when I saw it. So we're coming out of the station. Let's go into the cab. It's difficult to see much out of the cab, actually, at the front end. So I mean, it's got such a long bonnet on it, or hood, that it's difficult to see. We're actually braking off to the right hand side, so we'll go outside just for now, so you can see that. And once we get to this corner, we'll start having a look at the patch notes. So if you do own the 204, let me know what you think about it. I quite like it. There's a number of scenarios that you get with it as well. Now, I don't know whether it comes up in a sale quite often. It's only a local DLC, so you need Main Spessart Bahn to actually buy it, so you will need that. It's one of the older ones that is linked to the route. All the newer ones, of course, now that come out, the local DLCs that is, are sort of freestanding, aren't they? They're standalone from any routes, which is a little bit better. I don't think the functionality existed at the beginning to enable that. So you have to make sure if you do buy it, you've got Main Spessart Bahn. That's the first thing. But let me know what you think of it. And if you have got it and you've not played it for a while, will the updates make you jump back in, run a couple of services? It's like revisiting an old friend for me, this. So we're underway now down the new part of, I'm calling it the new part of the track, the part of the track that didn't really exist when the route first came out. So the 204, so it says fixed the release brake objective in the training module, allowing it to be completed. I checked this. I have done the training module and I've got a gold medal on that. So I would assume that that is some error that was introduced, you know, since I picked this up, you know, in a later patch from the original. So that one wasn't a problem with me. Added the walkie-talkie model to the front of the cab, which is used to contact the signaller, which is there. You can just see the as we go into a dark tunnel, you can see the walkie-talkie there. That's starting to be introduced into most of the cabs, isn't it, now that we've got. Added the fuel caps and refueling setup. Okay, I don't know where that is. Where is the refueling? Is it on the side somewhere? It's usually lower down, isn't it? Could be around here. Not entirely sure. If I look hard enough, I'll find it. But I'm trying to also keep my my eye on what we're doing. Here is the Schaffenberg Süd platform. There's quite often, it's not the right time of day, it's quite often there's people waiting on that platform, but they never get picked up. There's no passenger service that stops there. There's no passenger services down here at all. So increased the strength of the headlights and also warmed the colours slightly. I think we can vouch for that. You can see how strong they are, and they've warmed them so they're not as bright in your face. And I'll pay attention for a short period because we've got a red coming up. You like how these leaves are falling? These have always done this. I always think that is quite a nice touch. But the weather that I've got the dynamic weather on, but we are set in June, so you wouldn't really expect leaves to be falling in June, would you? But they do, but I don't mind that. It's quite a nice touch. We'll just creep along, then we don't miss anything. Another one, manual wipers will now correctly clear the rain and snow on windows. That's another common bug, isn't it, across a few of the DLCs. Snow and rain will correctly clear with the wipers, so that's good, you need that. Removed the duplicated BR204 in the service listing, that's correct, there was 2 listed but there's only 1 now. 2 204s now coupled closer together. Throttle power notches 4, 5 and 6 will now do something. Notches 1, 2 and 3 are power reduced. We're in 2 at the moment because we're just creeping forward. Actually, you know what will happen? We'll go through this go via and the signal will change from red. So let's just speed up slightly. So notches 4, 5 and 6 are more power, so let's do that. And there is the Sifa. Fixed the full service brake to correctly display. Some of these are things I've not noticed, to be honest. Fixed the hood brakes percentage to match the output shown on the level. That's good. PZB should now appear on the hood as well as the dashboard lights. Hallelujah. That is the one thing, as I keep mentioning, that I wanted fixed on this. I'm so pleased they've put that in. I don't know how big of a fix that was, or why it wasn't, why it wasn't working in the first place. Changed the Sifa warning from a bleep to Sifa, as we just heard. There's been adjustments to the cab audio, including the PZB beeper volume. Yeah, this platform as well, if you look, we always get people on the platform, but again, they never get picked up. They can't go anywhere. That actually is a Schaffenberg Sud, not the one that we went through first. It's nicely modelled, isn't it? It's a nicely modelled little station. It's a shame for the people. They'll be waiting forever. They've been there since the last time I came down here. There's no way they've been anywhere since. There's just no trains unless they're going to jump and piggyback on one of these. Let's keep an eye on this. Make sure I don't do anything silly while I'm reading this out to you. Reduce the sensitivity of the reverser control, so people must have been slipping the reverser into the wrong direction quite easily. Various adjustments to the brake physics. Like I said, the brakes do take some getting used to, and I don't remember it actually being like that, so that could be, the way it is now could be a result of that, I think. And the last one is added rail driver support. So if you're on PC and you're using rail driver, you can now use the 204 with a rail driver, which is quite nice, isn't it? Okay, so we are making our way down now, and I'm going to release some of the throttle. Let's have a bit more horn. A lot of industry along this section. You can see here there's logging. Don't quite know what they're doing in there, but the logs are outside. I'm going to assume they're as I come straight to a halt. Let's sort that out. I'm going to assume there's some kind of turning it into planks or something similar to that. Let's get underway again. I think I'm being overcautious because I've been reading the list. There we go. Let's pick it up a little bit. it's actually a very nice little scenic branch, this, going down to the docks. Everybody speculated. I remember when Main Spessart Bahn came out, the forums were alive with, "Oh, we think it's modelled down there." We could get, and all the locals were saying, "Yeah, there's the docks down there. The docks are at the end of there." And you couldn't take a train down, as I say, but you could get part of the way down on foot. I think, in fact, there were some collectibles on that previous station that we just went through, as I remember rightly. But you couldn't go all the way down. And then, as if by magic, it was a sort of free extension. And it was right before the 204 came out.
Zifa.
There's the Zifa lady. So you can see where we're going. We're actually going to our right there, because it does curve all the way around. You see, we get down to this junction, we curve right the way around, and we'll be stopping over here. There's a big set of sidings down this end. And now, of course, I am speeding. So we'll just ease the brakes on. So with this, you can do some of these deliveries as we're doing now. There's a few services for shunting. I think there's I'm gonna guess. I think there's around 12 services, but there are the usual 5 scenarios as well. Now, one of those scenarios takes around 2 hours. You come all the way from Lohr, I believe it's pronounced Lohr, and you come all the way down the main line. That's a really nice run. And then you come into Aschaffenburg, and then you come down to the docks where we are now, where we're going to now. That's a really nice scenario. And that will be even better actually now that the PZB is working, if you use PZB, that is. Because we'll be running the main line, and you can actually get up to a decent speed. It will do a decent speed. I don't know if it says actually anywhere what the maximum speed is. Normally there is a little plaque or notice somewhere, isn't there, that gives the top speed. I don't think it does in here, which is a shame. But it has a fast gear and it has a shunting gear, and at the moment we are in the fast gear because we're moving at speed. But there is a shunting gear as well, which is a lot better for the start stops that you do. So yeah, you can get up to some speed on that run down the main line. It's quite a nice one. There's quite a bit of playability in this. I first thought, oh, 12 services, it's not a lot, but actually the decent length services. We've got a little bit of brake on, which I need to release. So yeah, so we're going over the other side of those buildings, that residential area. We're about to come over a really nice river actually, which you will see very shortly. There's kind of an iron bridge. Which I think is just around this corner. It's not far around this corner. But you've seen I got the PZB on, but there's not a lot of PZB to do. Apart from when we're at the top end, around the main line station there. This is the aforementioned bridge with a very, very wide river. I don't know what that river is, but it's very scenic, isn't it? It's very nice. Still showing us 2 kilometres away. As soon as you go around the bend though, you shave that distance right down. So it's a nice little run, this one. Plenty of cars out this early in the morning. They're probably all going to Aschaffenburg Sud to give them a lift, being as they've just found out they're not going to get any trains today. Let's go into the cab for a little bit. Look, it's just the visibility, you see? The visibility's not great. But it's a very nicely modelled cab. Got all this pipe work down here for the brakes. You've got the manual CFA button there. And that speedo there has just told me we are approaching 40 kilometres per hour, so I need to be careful, and we are downhill. But I need to keep checking that brake, because as I release the brake, part of the brake stays on. You can see 0.6 of brake has stayed on. Now that's not bad while we're going downhill. It's actually helpful. But if you don't pay attention, you can slow right down as we did earlier, because the brakes are stuck on. Let's acknowledge this. 1000 hertz magnet. I don't know if these crossings actually are automated. Shall we see if we can find out? Let's see if they raise. I'm hovering here as long as I can with the 2 thumbsticks. Are they going to raise? Doesn't look like it. Let's go back to the front of the train. Going to take that little bit of brake out. Now I'm just looking down the list to see which other of the Rivet DLCs have been updated. I can see that the Isle of Wight has been updated. Quite a list actually. That's with the 483, so that is the old one, isn't it? That is the old Isle of Wight, not the 2022 version. West Cornwall has had a few updates, not much though, including one actually to the Class 150. Increased revs when starting the train in notch 3. We'll have to try that. But it says mainly an audio improvement, so it doesn't sound like there's much been done to the physics. Arosa has had an update, not much though. A couple of updates to the actual train itself. 1938 tube stock. Now that's something I've not run very often. I think we'll take a look at that in a future video as well. So we're just arriving down at the Docklands area, which is quite nice. Down this way you can actually get out to the docks themselves. These are all the loading and unloading areas here. There's some sidings that you'll see coming up. Let's just double check that we have got a path all the way up. I think this is all signal controlled, which it is. Is a B safe to release, so we'll do that. So this is a nice little service, this one. It's taken us half an hour, but we've been idling most of the way down, having a chat about the DLC, about Main Spessart Bahn and the patches, so that's fine. There's no rush. Got another 204 down here waiting to do its job. And I think all we do is park up when we get to this location, so that will be it. nothing too strenuous there. A good test of the CFA and the PZB, and definitely a good test of the braking. And that acceleration when we first set off from Aschaffenburg as well, I was surprised actually how long it took us to get going, but that's good because that's the physics of the weight of these tankers, these full tankers. So that's quite nice to see. So this one's been a bit different. Not often do the shunting stuff. We didn't strictly do any shunting. We used a shunter. But hope you've enjoyed that. Leave me a comment below. Don't forget to leave me a like. I do appreciate that. And this is us finished. Let's just check the scores. Level 6 I am with the 204. And level 7 with Main Spessart Bahn. So you can see on the PS5 version I've not played it very much at all. We'll rectify that though in the coming weeks and months. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, of course, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.